Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is December the 30th, 2016. I'd like to make a case to lock up both Eric Holder and Attorney General Loretta Lynch. They should both be in prison. And it's a simple case of the fox guarding the henhouse for the bankster gangsters. And I can easily show you that by looking at our Attorney General's timeline. It's quite simple, actually. Let's get started. We'll actually start with the previous Attorney General, Eric Holder. You see, he had to step down because there was a lot of things going on. What had happened is Eric Holder had armed the criminal cartels in Mexico with guns that killed a Border Patrol agent. And that Border Patrol agent was Brian Terry. In fact, what had happened with Fast and Furious was so explosive that many documents were withheld from Congress that involved the Fast and Furious debacle. What ultimately happened was Obama had signed an order stating that Congress could not have all of the paperwork that went with the Fast and Furious case. A judge then ruled that Congress would be able to see all of the documents. They still have not gotten the documents to this day. But what had happened was Attorney General Eric Holder announced his resignation right after the judge ruled that the DOJ couldn't delay any longer the release of the Fast and Furious documents. Now, amazingly enough, a portion of those Fast and Furious documents were actually emails. And they were emails related to Fast and Furious between Eric Holder and his wife, Sharon Malone. And that's where we will start with Loretta Lynch's timeline, because she is the Attorney General who took Eric Holder's place. So in 1984, Loretta Lynch graduated Harvard Law. She was in a black-only sorority, and she was best friends with Eric Holder's wife. Now, Sharon Malone is a charter member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and she just happens to be Eric Holder's wife. The other charter member of that sorority just happens to be Loretta Lynch. So I would say that they're pretty good friends there, wouldn't you think? I would also say that if Eric Holder were to be put up on charges in reference to Fast and Furious, that Loretta Lynch, the new Attorney General, would be the one that would be investigating Eric Holder, wouldn't you say? And I would think that that would be a great reason for Obama to try to withhold the emails between Eric Holder and his wife, because they're in reference to Fast and Furious, and I bet Eric Holder's wife was forwarding them to Loretta Lynch. Now, for a prime example of how our system is broken, you can see it in this video. Sheriff Joe Arpaio to hold a press conference on Obama's fake birth certificate. In this video, you will see how the Justice Department is used by the president. You see, the president is able to place attorneys around the country. They're called United States attorneys in different districts. And these attorneys are used by the president sometimes for nefarious purposes. You'll see that Dennis K. Burke was one of those attorneys and what he was used for in that video. I'll leave the link below and you can watch it if you'd like. Another person that's always been included in all this trouble is Lanny Breuer. Lanny Breuer, you have to understand, goes way back with the Clintons. He represented Bill Clinton. He represented Sandy Berger. He also works for Covington and Burling. He does now, and he did previously to his role in the DOJ as the criminal division attorney. And Eric Holder also worked previously for Covington and Burling and also returned to Covington and Burling after he resigned from being the Attorney General. Now, the one thing about Covington and Burling that I find extremely interesting is that they love the bankster gangsters and the bankster gangsters love them, especially HSBC. Now, according to this Rolling Stone article, Eric Holder went back to work for his old firm, the white-collar defense heavyweight Covington and Burling. Holder denied there was anything weird about returning to one of Wall Street's favorite defense firms after 6 years of letting one banker after another skate on monstrous cases of fraud, tax evasion, market manipulation, money laundering, bribery, and other offenses. That money laundering of HSBC just happened to be for the Sinaloa drug cartel, in which Eric Holder teamed up with for the Fast and Furious debacle. Now, here's a man who just spent 6 years handing out soft touch settlements to practically every too-big-to-fail bank in the world. Isn't that odd? It sounds exactly like he's describing Loretta Lynch. So let's go back to Loretta Lynch and let's see how she helped the bankster gangsters as well. And keep in mind that she was confirmed as Attorney General after she helped the bankster gangsters, and there is proof, and I will show it to you. So we'll get started with 1984 to 1990, when she worked at Cahill, Gordon and Rendell, just out of law school. That was 6 years she worked for them. And wouldn't you know it, by the looks of things, Cahill, Gordon and Rendell loves bankster gangsters and bankster gangsters love them. They constantly represent banks like Deutsche Bank, HSBC, and many others over and over and over again. Isn't that odd? But what's really odd is the deferred prosecution agreement between HSBC and the United States Eastern District of New York, a case that Loretta Lynch was the prosecutor on. So let's go down to the bottom of the agreement and see who's involved in this, shall we? Well, for HSBC, we have Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell. Yes, Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell represented HSBC. And look who represented the United States Department of Justice on this very same case. Lanny Breuer and Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch at that time was the Eastern District of New York United States Attorney. And according to the DOJ website, it says that she went to Harvard. And of course, it doesn't say that she was besties with Eric Holder's wife and started a sorority with her. And oddly enough, it just says that she was in a period of private practice from 1984 to 1990. Doesn't mention anything about Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell. When, oddly enough again, it does mention that she was in private practice at Hogan and Hartson, which now is Hogan Lovells. So why would they talk about Hogan and Hartson and not talk about Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell? Odd, isn't it? And another odd thing to add to the long, long list of odd things here, Lanny Breuer had to resign because of Fast and Furious. And then he went back to Covington and Burling, that just so happens to represent the bankster gangsters. And it just so happens that the bankster gangsters laundered money for the Sinaloa cartels. You see how this all comes together with certain attorneys and certain law firms working in the DOJ sometimes and sometimes not. And what's really, really odd is it seems that some of these people that become the Attorney General or possibly the President, it seems as though they've almost been groomed for what they are doing. We'll take, for example, Loretta Lynch. She graduated in '84 Harvard Law. '84 to '90, she worked for Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell. Now, Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell is a corporate law firm. They make a lot of money. She had to know someone, first of all, to get in there right from Harvard. And after 6 years being at Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell, she made a pretty good amount of money. And then, for some crazy reason, she decides to go in to the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. She worked there for 9 years and had to start at the bottom and work her way up. Boy, I bet she took a huge pay cut to go to the Eastern District of New York for the Assistant U.S. Attorney. And then within that span, from 1994 to 1998, she was with the Ujamaa Investment Group. Now, Ujamaa is Swahili for African socialism. We move on to 1999 to 2002 when Bill Clinton appointed her to be U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. That was for 3 years. Then from 2002 to 2010, she was a litigation partner at Hogan and Hartson. From 2003 to 2006, she was on the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. She was a Class C director. A Class C director, folks, is supposed to represent the people. How can Loretta Lynch have represented the people as a Class C director when she works for the bankster gangsters at Hogan and Hartson? Hogan and Hartson does the same thing as Cahill, Gordon, and Rendell. They work for bankster gangsters. They work for corporations. We'll move on to 2010 to 2015 when she was appointed again U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. Barack Obama appointed her right after word came out that HSBC was ratted out in 2010 by a vice president of HSBC. Barack Obama immediately moved Loretta Lynch into that position. You see, not only was Loretta Lynch basically groomed to do what she is doing today, but you will see, as I've seen investigating all of this, that our president has the power of a monarch. Our president has no business being able to nominate and place United States attorneys all over the country. Why does each district need a United States attorney as well as local elected attorneys? The United States attorneys are not elected officials. They are placed by the president. We already have local district attorneys. There is no need for United States attorneys that are chosen by the monarch. That's what makes him a monarch. That is what also sets our country up for failure. By placing all of these United States attorneys in these positions, the president can totally take over and cover for wrongdoing in each district of the United States of America by using this appointed United States attorney in each district. Anyway, moving on down the line, in 2013, when things started hitting the fan with the Sinaloa drug cartels and HSBC, Attorney General Eric Holder nominated her as the chair of the Attorney General Advisory Committee. And then in 2015, she was sworn in on April 27th, nominated on November 8th. A lot of people in Congress had a lot of problems with her. But in the end, it was the Republicans' responsibility not to vote her in. And here's a list of the 20 rhinos that were in the Senate that voted Loretta Lynch in. Just think what our country may be like without Loretta Lynch. These people voted Loretta Lynch in, keep in mind, despite the fact that she let HSBC and the cartels get away with money laundering and doing what they're doing. So Loretta Lynch should never have been confirmed, and it's because of these 20 so-called Republicans. So now that we know what to look for in an attorney general, we know to go through and see exactly what law firm they work for and what they've done throughout their career. I think there are many people that could have been chosen by Trump that are not bankster gangsters and are not affiliated with politics at all. that could definitely do the job. And I think that if we rely on one person to save us, that we're setting ourselves up for total disaster. Because as our founding fathers proved, the only people that can save us is ourselves. We cannot depend on one person to come in and save us. We have to get up off our duffs and do whatever we can for our country. Because now we are definitely a banana republic. I think we're even past that point because we barely export anything, just like a banana republic. And we are definitely run by a criminal cartel. I mean, look at our Department of Justice. And how long has it been a criminal cartel? I'd say a very long time. So, when you have an attorney general that is crooked as anything, you're past the point of a banana republic. So, we'll be looking into this and hopefully things will work out, but I don't believe it's going to help unless more people come out and do more than speak out. We're going to have to do more to take our republic back. I'm hoping for the best with Trump, but we'll see. This is Call of Duty Goddess. I hope you have a wonderful new year. Signing off, and as always, I'll leave the links below, and I've got your 6.